They say you've made it when you're in the big bright lights. Can Do Consulting presents Beyond the Bright Lights podcast.
Welcome everyone to the Can Do's. This is our first episode of Beyond the Bright Lights. Today we have a very, very well-known person, not only in our community, but he's known worldwide. Today we have our very own well-known boxing trainer, Mr. Donald Givens.
Trainer, coach, teacher.
I know that's right.
Absolutely. He
All
wears
accolades.
many hats.
He was quick to say that. Trainer, coach, and teacher.
Absolutely. So it's an honor, first of all, to have you here, and we'll talk a little bit about our history. But it's interesting, just in our community, some of the gyms that we have, literally gyms, and then gyms as in important people, you know, and especially just coming off of Black History Month and having somebody like you with so much history, and not just history, but you're still current. So it is an honor to have you here. It's an honor to be able to talk to you and just see where you're at and what you're doing and some of the things that you've been in touch with, you know, doing throughout the your career.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here.
Absolutely.
I don't believe in the word procrastination. Like, I don't really believe in that word. I told a young lady in Australia who told me she was a procrastinator. I said, look, if I told you to meet me here tomorrow at 5 a.m., I'm gonna give you $3 million, where would you be? She said, I'm gonna be right there at 4:59, ready to get that $3 million. And I said, so then there's no such thing as procrastination. What it is it's not important to you. Right? It's not meaningful to you. It's not something that's urgent to you. And when something is not urgent, you put it off. So yep, you're in school, yes. You probably aren't getting grades, etc. But if it's not meaningful to you, if it's not important to you, then you're not gonna make it a priority. So what you have to do is find out, how can you make it meaningful? How can you make it purposeful? How can you make it stick? And when you can find that out, I promise you, you'll get up early, you'll get there first, and you'll do it.
We were already talking before the cameras came on. I just want everybody to know that. But it's just always amazing to have conversations, you know, with people. And, you know, Dion and I, that's what we love to do.
Absolutely.
We like to have conversations and not look at it so much as interview, but just having a
Real
conversation.
talk.
When you genuinely care about people and what they do, it's not an interview. It's a conversation that you have, and just giving them an opportunity to be able to share what it is that they're passionate about, what it is that they've accomplished, what it is that they've done in their lifetime. And Mr. Givens here is 84 years young, and that is a blessing by itself.
Yes.
I feel old and I'm 50 years old.
Yes.
He has lived 34 years longer than I have, and it's just a blessing to have you here. And we just look forward to just getting into the conversation and just sharing with the world what it is that you're passionate about, your life journey outside of just what you do, your life journey with your children and your wife, that, you know, how many years you were married, and just all of that stuff, because that's what makes the person who they are.
And I was just gonna, you know, piggyback off of that. The whole title of our show is Beyond the Bright Lights, because if anyone Googled you, you know, Donald Givens Sr., they Googled you, they'll see your resume, you know, but there's so much more to you and so much more that you've done, even leading up to that. Some of the things that you contributed to our country, your services that you did. And then even now, I remember just a few times when it gets warm out, I'm doing my laps around Nickel Park, and you're over there and you're still training. So it's not even like you did this. You still have young guys and females and everything.
Doing it.
So let's get into hearing some about you. Where did this all start?
Yes.
Like we know you have a passion for boxing, but where did this all start for you?
Well, for one thing, which you don't realize, that Lyndon had boxing in gym when we was in high school.
So that was part of the curriculum.
That was part of the curriculum.
Wow.
And I bought a piece here from Harold Carter. I know you're familiar with his brother John.
Yeah, I know John Carter.
John Carter.
Yeah, you mean John Carter Sr. or John Carter that's now?
John Carter Sr.
John Carter Sr.
The father, his father.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyhow, his brother. And I were in high school together.
Okay.
And we had boxing, and that's where it started as far as boxing goes.
Wow.
And he went on to, like I say, actually he turned professional in his senior year when he was still in high school.
Wow.
And he went on to greater heights. He fought in the Golden Gloves.
Right.
And back then they had what they called the Eastern against the Western. In other words, it was like New York City against Chicago. And he fought Floyd Patterson.
Oh, wow.
The first 1951.
Okay.
And he lost to Floyd Patterson.
Yeah.
But
Floyd
the next
was good.
year, he took everything.
Wow.
And like I say, his pro career started from that.
Wow. So it's interesting that boxing was in high school.
Yeah.
So did y'all literally spar and box people?
We had boxing gloves. We fought each other.
I think that's a concept they should bring back.
Yes.
Because if you have a problem with people in school, instead of
the gloves
fighting,
out.
get the gloves on.
That's right.
And that'll solve a lot
Yeah,
of
it
problems,
sure
I think, too.
would. It sure
Especially
would.
the sportsmanship of it, though.
Yes.
It'll kind of like, let kids compete, but it'll give them an option to doing all the nonsense that they're doing now.
Put the gloves on, sew it, and after that, we're friends.
That's right.
Yes,
That's
yes.
right. That's right.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's good.
Wow. So what was your household like? Let's just start there. What was your household like? How many siblings do you have?
Well, like I said, it was 6 of us.
Okay.
And it wasn't easy.
Okay.
Because at that time, I used to shine shoes.
Okay.
I'm talking about, 11,
Yeah,
12 years
yeah.
old.
Wow.
And I know sometimes we didn't eat till I came home with the shoe shine money.
Wow.
So that's how things were.
Humble
Wow.
beginnings. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, so after that, once I got, through high school, and I went into the service
Okay.
and still boxing.
Yeah,
I boxed
yeah.
all through my 4 years in the Air Force.
Okay.
And I came out and actually, this was kind of personal, but my wife, she was my girlfriend, but her grandparents raised her. And they got sick and, they passed away. She was only 16 years old.
Oh, wow. That's a
So
lot.
anyhow, at that age, she had a brother, and they were going to separate them. The state, they'd be wards of the state.
Yes.
So I came home on leave and I got married.
Wow. Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Because I couldn't see them separating
Yeah.
two of them,
Right.
So we got married and then things went on from that.
So when you got married to her, the brother came along with her as well. So at a young age, you were married, and then you also had her brother also for you to take care of at a young age.
And I was, like I say, I was in the service.
Yeah.
And the home that her grandparents had, that's, she was still there, So like I said, I'd come on leave or whatever,
Wow.
But that was the
You made that decision. That was more of a responsible
Absolutely.
thing to do.
And young too, because how old were you when you came
I was
at the time?
I was 20.
Wow.
And I was 20 and not really ready to get married.
Right.
But I did,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I
right.
said I did the right thing.
Yeah,
Put it
yeah.
like that, So
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that. I know that you were in the Korean War. You fought in the Korean War. And my father also fought in
That's
the
a
Korean
connection.
War.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I had read that about you, I was like, wow, okay. So what are some memories that you have of that time frame of your life?
Well, I'll put it like this. When I joined the service, the Air Force, I intended on making it into a career. But, and this is, like I say, people have to experience this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a Northerner. I came, we went to school with the whites and the blacks and up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But once you go into, like I say, I got into the military, and it was a whole new experience. You get stationed out south, and you gotta deal with the prejudice,
Yes,
the racism,
yes.
and blah blah blah. And at the time, like I said, I was still boxing, and I got stationed down at Egley Field in Florida, and being an exceptional boxer at the time, I got 4 hours every day to go train from the base commander.
Yeah.
But when I came back, to my station, this provost sergeant would say, give it to. And he put me on the post. I was an air policeman.
Oh, okay.
He would put me on a post way out in the boondocks somewhere,
Yeah.
So that's ended up how I got, overseas.
Yeah.
I went, I had enough of it.
Right.
So I went to the commander, to the provost sergeant, and said, I'd like, go overseas. And first thing he say, where would you like to go, Givens? Korea?
Wow.
And that was the start of me. Like I said, I wanted to make a career, but
Yeah.
after that, everything started going down. If I wasn't boxing, and I used to tell my kids that, I probably would have been locked up.
Right.
Wow. So you seen that as a way of your out. That was a way of you making it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. And thank you for your service to the
absolutely.
country. Thank you for your service to the country, because I know my dad was in the Korean War as well, and all I used to see was pictures of him with the women from Korea. That's all I saw. All I saw was those pictures of him with the women in Korea. I was like, all right, Dad, I don't need to know anymore.
It was something.
Yeah. So now you had to come back, right? So now let's talk a little bit about when you came back. And now the whole thing is, because I know that you got involved in the community, and I known you for the boxing, but it was more. You got into youth sports, football, you got into karate. And I was just like, how did you manage to do all of that? And then how did things transfer from just boxing to being a community person?
Well, I'll put it like this. The Givens family is the Givens family in Linden. So we had a home, Lincoln Street and Blanket Street, the Givens name, that was the hangout.
Okay.
So all the kids, I have 3 sons. So all the neighborhood, they gathered at.
Right, they had all their friends there with
at
them.
the Lincoln, and that's how all that started. As far as me getting involved in the community.
Okay.
So when the PAL football season, Pop Warner Senior started, so I decided to join Pop Warner because my sons and quite a few other kids were joining.
Right.
And going down there, I didn't see none of us. So that was the beginning of me getting involved.
Okay.
Just for that reason.
Right.
And fortunately, like I said, once they had tryouts, and this one incident that they cut one of the kids that I knew could do it.
Yeah.
So I went to his parents. And I don't even know the Jones boys, Jerry Jones.
Yeah. Oh, we're familiar with
Jerry.
Yes, we are. Yes,
so
we are.
Jerry he got cut. And I'm gonna say this,
I'm just going to adjust this, that's all. Keep on talking.
They had, the coaches, the white coaches, and myself. So when they start cutting kids, they cut Jerry. And then they had this little white boy, 2 left feet. They didn't cut him. I went to Jerry's mom and to his home, and I told him to bring Jerry down there back Monday.
Wow.
And they brought him back.
Yeah.
And as you from Linden High athlete, Jerry became one of the best runners. He became one of the best runners Linden ever had.
That whole Jones family.
The whole Jones family.
Yeah. So, but it's funny because even at that time, you weren't just coaching, but you was an advocate for those young kids. And that's so needed. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times as adults, people want to just coach, but they don't want to get involved really on that personal level.
Because it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to just coach.
No,
just coach
that's
and
not
just
the
leave
Givens way.
It's not.
Absolutely.
But it's easy to just do that and look for results on the field.
Right.
But then once the results on the field are ended, then they go home and
They
they go,
gone.
and that's
Yeah.
that. So you can see the kid on the street corner, you can see this happening with the kid, but hey, I'm not coaching them right now, so I'm not getting involved.
Right.
Now, one thing I would, like I say, we was always activists.
Yeah.
Now, this is an article where you just was in the Givens clan back in the limelight. Now, I'm going to read this. It says, thus far, the second generation has been able to match the pace set by the first. For 3 of the newcomers quit the football team after only 1 game last season. Now, what happened? It was the 3 of us on the varsity team.
Yeah.
And we had all decided, because we came up through school playing football, and my one cousin, my cousin Phil, was quarterback all through coming up, through. We got to high school, the varsity. Well, you know those old saying that black couldn't be a quarterback.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's funny because it's still a little bit okay.
But he could out-throw, out-run, out-pass, everything for the quarterback that he had.
Right.
This white guy.
Yeah.
So we decided to protest. So we made up our mind once they played the national anthem.
So, but you guys, wait a second. So you guys were players and you took a stance. So it's crazy because even now we still deal with that with Kaepernick and different rights. But you guys were back then taking a stance for something that was right.
Yes.
So this is the whole thing because we're talking about sports and the theme of Beyond the Bright Lights is the different things that people don't know about, but how you got to how you are, because it's more than sports.
Yes.
You're showing like how you use your platform to make a difference.
And how we were raised. We were raised like that,
Right. And so many times now, you have coaches and the community that look at just the sports part, but they don't see how this young athlete can change the community, can change the world. And then how you were an athlete yourself, but you was fighting and advocating for one of your fellow teammates. That's amazing.
And you decided it on your own. You didn't have an adult telling you to do it.
The 3 of us
made that decision.
Like we said, once they played the national anthem, we were walking off. The national anthem played, and the 3 of us got up and we walked. Well, we all
So
then inside, we walked across the field.
So no one had an idea what you guys were doing until that point.
No.
So let's
deep.
what's the outcome? That's
deep.
That's the thing. Is
Did y'all continue to play? Was that
that was it.
You stopped for the season?
we was finished.
Wow.
We was finished. That was our senior year.
Wow. What a stance to take. Because you could have been worried about, okay, our stats and how is this going to impact us if we try to go to college, or what is it going to look like? Because all of that now today comes into play.
Yeah.
It's not even about right or wrong anymore, but it's about how is this going to benefit me? How is it going to hurt me? I don't care that my brother over here is hurting, but if I take a stand, how is it going to impact me? And that you 3 made that decision of, you know what, we're finished. If this is how they're going to treat another one of our brothers, then we don't want to be a part of it.
And it's y'all were crucial parts to the team.
Yeah,
they needed y'all. Y'all were starters, and y'all made decisions. And that's a really like an unselfish act. Because
really
you're just like, we want to make sure that it's not even about us. It's about these younger kids coming by. It's about using our platform as an example.
Man.
So how did the season go after y'all left?
I forgot how the season went.
Well, if you don't remember the season, they probably ain't going to So then they probably too said that, listen, that Givens name and those people, we need them.
Yeah.
So you created value for that athlete. That's amazing.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this picture since we want to talk about.
Well, we're gonna talk about family. This is where
because this was after this legacy right here.
Like you say, 25 to.
And we'll show it too.
Yeah, and
when we
just
do the
seeing
editing.
that.
But
look at this here.
Picture.
These were all brothers, 6 of them. 6 of them. And you share with us, what did they mean to Linden High School?
Everything. Like I say, excuse me, like I say, I left this on. He'll tell you the whole story.
And let me just, because some of you probably don't know, this is my cousin. I am a Givens. My father passed away when I was a few months old, and my mom, I was more with my mom's side of the family, but this was my father's side of the family, and a lot of times, like, I would have like athletic ability, and sometimes I would like wonder, like, where did it come from? You know what I'm saying? But both sides of the family was athletic, but just learning about the rich history of our town and how much our family has given to the athletics. And the thing is, it wasn't even just our small town.
Yeah.
It's like national. It's like in other states where the Givens family has really contributed to sports in general. So this is amazing, and this is stuff that a lot of it I haven't seen before, and it's giving me a history of different things in our city and our family. So this is really, really deep stuff.
And we have to appreciate those who laid the foundation before us. And I know sometimes as younger, and we're kind of in the middle age range right now, we're not even in the younger category. We have the younger that really don't appreciate what it is, the foundation that was laid down by our elders. And we always have to appreciate that, because just like seeing right here the 6 brothers, right here, the cousins that laid a foundation back then, you know, and then that created an opportunity for you and your family. And then you had Dion's family line, and then you have those younger. But we have to appreciate all of the hardships and challenges that you went through, you know, with your generation, and not just look at it as, oh, we just have it like this. People, we got it at a cost.
Thank you.
It was brought at a price, you know, and we have no idea even half of the stories that you went through, and it's not even enough time to talk about all of the things that you went through in your time. But just for that alone, we need to always appreciate the elders and not look at them as, oh, well, they're older now, they're not relevant because they, you know, whatever. It's like, no, they laid the foundation down for us. So we really always have to think about that. But I want to go back a little bit to when you were in the service. I know you were injured about your wrist or something, and that's the reason why you no longer could pursue boxing yourself. Tell me about that time.
So it was like a transition from the athlete. And again, this is one of the things where a lot of times young people, they feel like, I can't play the sport anymore, so I have nothing to contribute.
Nothing to contribute.
So how did you deal with that? Because like Michelle was saying, you had an injury, but you said, and you didn't say, well, let me just go to the streets, let me just go do something I'm not supposed to. How did you still use what you had?
Okay, so well, the thing was that once, you know, like I said, I got discharged with a cast from here up to here because of the injury. And so, like I say, I spoke of Harold Carter. Well, I said Harold Carter. We had Harold Carter. We had Janoris Armstrong. We had Leroy Simmons, Leroy Grant. These were all guys from Linden.
But so Linden, a lot of history.
But Linden did not have a boxing program. So we all ended up going to Elizabeth and boxing for Elizabeth Brett. All of them became champions. All of us, I'd say, became champions. And Harold himself, you know, like I say, went on to higher heights. But once I came out of the service, you know, with my injury, my dream was to turn pro and, you know, join the team. But like I say, I tried it and, you know, I couldn't do it. So anyhow, like you say, you know, it wasn't me like, well, what am I gonna do? I knew what I was gonna do. I love boxing, it's my passion. And so I went back to my roots. I went back to the Elizabeth Red. Kirk Center, downtown Peterstown, Elizabeth. And I started training training. And I used to have in my basement all the local kids, teaching them boxing, teaching them in the backyard, teaching them karate. And so so it went on from there. So like I said, then I got recognition for my boxing coaching skills, teaching skills. So like I say, right now I'm a national and an international recognized USA boxing coach. I've been around the world. When I say around the world, I mean around everywhere. Germany, France, Italy, Russia, Azerbaijan, Denmark. I've been there.
That's amazing.
And the kids that's really want to do it, to excel and reach that peak, they can see the world free, no nothing.
And that, you know, that's amazing, because that's what we talk about. A lot of times, you know, you have athletes that are in high school or even younger, and they don't make it. They don't pan out to what other people think they should be. But then they end up just saying, I can't do this, so they go far off, or they do something. Right. But there's a lot of aspects. They could train, they can coach, they can do all that thing. Yeah, I remember when I stopped playing football, it was almost like a little depression, but then you got to think about how could I use everything that I've learned in training. I got to be able to do that, but you have to be willing to say, I want to give this to somebody else. Let me learn. Right. So you made that transition from an athlete to a trainer, a well-known trainer that traveled all over.
Then let's just talk a little bit about some of the people that you've come in contact with because of you being a boxer or a trainer. Who are some of the people that you've met or that you've trained or that you've, just any of the people?
Well, like I say, if you're not, I wouldn't say a boxing person, but if you don't,
well, you know, if you're ignorant to boxing.
No, but like a lot of
some people don't know.
A lot of sports people, they watch other sports.
Right.
So now, my first international trip, and I can call the names of Shane Mosley, Wiki Wright, Shannon Briggs, Chris Bird. All these guys, like I said, were my first international trip team.
Big time boxers.
They all became champs.
Yeah.
So you knew him before.
I knew him before. And in fact, I just, that was my first international trip. And my last international trip was this fella here. That's Errol Spence. He just fought last Saturday.
And when we're gonna show this on the screen, edit.
This was my last international trip. We went to Milan, Italy for the the World Games.
And this is recent.
2009 or 10.
Wow. So let me ask you, how many total years have you been involved with boxing? Could we do the math there?
Close to 60.
Wow.
Because I know you yourself boxed when you were about, 18 or 19 when you won the featherweight novice championship?
Yeah.
I was looking at that.
I started, like I said, when we out of high school, you know, and this is something that a lot of people, most people don't know. The old City Hall down, it's the rubbish department now, down Linden.
Yeah.
That used to be, the main City Hall. They had a little room downstairs.
Oh, wow.
With a big punching bag where we trained at.
Wow.
For a minute, you know.
Yeah.
That's the old City Hall. That's when I was 13, 14 years old.
Wow.
And the mayor's father, good friends. At that time, he was the top amateur, out of London, before Harold,
Right.
His dad, Diamond Glove champ, blah, blah, blah. So we are, like I say, Old City Hall, Linden, they had this small room that we trained for a minute until we went down to Elizabeth.
Right.
But that's
a lot of history.
That is a lot of history, but I've even seen pictures with you with Mike Tyson and some of the ones that people would know. So who's some other people that you've ran across paths with that are big boxers that everybody would know even if they weren't into boxing?
Well, right now, we got, like I say, Lennox Lewis. He's from British heavyweight champ. I got, like I said, I got pictures with just about everybody. So, but the main guy, like I said, all those guys that I named became champs. And now I'm, still involved, and ones that are coming up through the ranks now.
Yeah.
You're
still
doing it. Still doing
All
it.
right, we're gonna take a little break because he has to adjust something.
Okay.
But then we'll come back.
Okay. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about just you personally. I was reading that you worked 25 years at Exxon and then you retired from there. And I know sometimes people feel like, well, I have a full-time job. I'm raising 3 kids myself. I don't have time to give back. I don't have time. And there's so many different ways of giving back. We tell that to people now. When we was younger, when our kids were younger, we were involved, but we also had to make sure that they were taken care of. You can't be the parent or the role model or the mentor that's pouring into other kids. Meanwhile, your house is just running amok. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's easier to do that over there because you're not actually responsible for that child all the time. but we have to make sure that our young men, like we had 2 young men to raise, and we needed to make sure that they were fine. And when we realized that they were okay, we were able to pour into some other kids because we were making sure that they were good. So you were raising 3 young men, but as well, you was working a full-time job and you were giving back to the community. So 25 years at Exxon, that's notable because, you know, nowadays, especially these millennials, they hear about you working that long at a job, they're like, oh my goodness, how could you do it?
Yeah.
But you know, in the times that we were coming up, you and even myself, you stayed at a job. You wanted a good job with good pension, good benefits, good health insurance, and stability.
Exxon was all that.
And it was all of that. So what was your responsibility? What did you do at Exxon?
I was a senior research technician.
Okay.
In other words, say you had an invention or trying to invent something. I was a technician.
Okay.
We would sit down. I'd come in, you know, sit down, and we talk about, well, Don, I want you to, in the lab, do so and so and so, this and that. And we, you know, he'd give me instructions, what he wanted me to do. And I'd go into the lab, and, you know, and set up whatever, testing, and that's what it was. And then sometimes we would go out on field trips.
Okay.
You know, because people don't know that Exxon was the biggest producer of rubber. Once the war started, and you know, Manila and the Philippines, the Japanese took over that. So they cut out the natural rubber supply. So Exxon came up with artificial rubber compound.
Wow.
And all your auto manufacturers use Exxon rubber.
Wow.
So
that's some history right there.
So, like I say, I was in the laboratory. It was an invention or something they wanted to improve. We worked hand in hand with a doctor, chemist, or whatever. So that's what I did for 25 years.
Look at that.
And I loved it.
Look at that.
Didn't have to hit no time clock.
That's something that should be noted. That really is, because when people say I don't have time, that's okay if you don't have the physical time, but you could donate money. You get what I'm saying? You could sponsor a child. There's always a way of giving, and we need all those ways. We need the ones that can give the time, we need the ones that can do the hands-on, and we need the ones that can financially back it. You know, so that was important to see that you did work a full-time job. You were raising your children. You were married. You had a wife that you loved and took care of as well, and you gave back to the community.
And see, the thing that I liked about it was that Exxon, Exxon is Exxon, one of the biggest companies in the world, and they embraced what I was doing in the community. So when, say, Colorado Springs, say we want you to come out to training camp for a week or so. They would, I had no problem.
They would accommodate that. They would make sure that you would take care.
See, to me, that's if you're not working on owning your own business, that's the type of job you want. One where you have the freedom to be able to do other things as well as have your job at the same time. So that was a wonderful blessing too, as well.
And then too, like I say, they supported me, and on the same hand, I was a union rep. So I became like a little thorn in their side sometimes. And I'll give you a little short story, like when I retired. And I had some management people who were good friends. And we had they had my retirement party. And one of the guys, management person, he said, I didn't agree all the time with what Don what Don said and blah, blah, blah. But I know Don did whatever he did from his heart,
That's right.
And then one of the guys, one of the non-management, one of my friends, he said, Exxon was glad when Don left. Because, like I said, like my grandmother used to say, it's right and wrong. Ain't no in between.
That's right.
Black and white, ain't no shade area.
That's right. That's right.
So, like I said, when I became a union rep, I stood up for
That's right.
And In fact, we had one time one of the big wheels. Exxon is headquartered in Houston, so we had one of the big wheels was supposed to be coming to the Linden, and he decided. Well, I say they decided to do this on Martin Luther King's Day, and I raised holy hell.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
I raised.
I know that's right.
So
Yeah.
Anyhow, like I say, that was part of me. That was who I am.
right.
Why you couldn't pick another day? To
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But like I say, that was me.
Yeah, and again, I'm seeing the same theme come back with your life.
Yep.
Is that you're an advocate
Yes.
for what's right. You're an advocate for fighting for other people.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a part of you. And again, living in this time and era where we have professional athletes, you know, they're not, the society sometimes is not ready
Not
for them.
outspoken enough.
Right.
Right.
Look up the
And-
stage
but
and
they
lose
have
that
a
little
platform.
yeah.
It's almost like they want us to perform, you know, but they don't want us to have a voice. You know, when that comment I'm thinking about when they made that to LeBron James, you know, the reporter said,
Yeah,
just
just
shut up
keep-
and keep
keep
dribbling.
dribbling.
Shut up and
You know what I'm
dribble.
saying? And that's
Yeah.
what they want. But even back then, you saw it was
Yes.
important to use
Yes.
your platform, to use sports, to always use sports to better your community, to help other people, your voice. And sometimes these young athletes or athletes in general don't realize how much power you
Yes.
have. But you weren't afraid to push
No,
it.
no.
And even if it meant, you know, some lashback from
Yes.
you or what people thought,
Consequences.
you
Yeah.
understood that it was people.
That was a
happy.
Givens trait
Yeah.
Yes.
from
yes.
them guys right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, and that's what we said too. Much that who is given much is expected much, and that's the truth. Because if you have been given a lot and you have a platform,
Give.
you are expected to give back and use that platform. And baby Johnny over there wasn't given the same task in life to do, but you had that calling to do it, and you did that.
Yes.
And that's why we say when Dion was talking about with the athletes today and some of these just people who have power and who have a platform, they're more concerned about their brand. They're
Yes,
more concerned
yes.
about the money that
Individual.
they're making. And the money that was made for the athletes back then were way less compared
Yes.
as the money that's made today.
Yes.
So it's more than enough money, but it's changed. It's changed some type of way
Yes.
that we've got so concerned because it's not about money, food to eat, because they got enough money to
Yes.
all of that.
More than
but
that,
but
way
I don't know
more.
if greed is what has happened, or I don't know what has happened that's changed it, because when you have taken care of your family, your household is fine. What is it that keeps you from speaking your voice and speaking your truth? When you see that something is wrong, if you see that another athlete is treated a certain way, why won't you take a stand?
Right.
What is it that's keeping you from taking a stand? And I think it's very important to mention that that was something that you did, that was something that was in you, and it doesn't change today because times are different. We're even called even more so
Right.
because we have a
Right.
huge platform.
Right.
You didn't have social media back then.
Yeah.
You didn't have all of the avenues we have today of being able to be a voice. But we do have it, so we are expected even more
Expected
so
to, you're right.
to do it.
Yes, and that's something that we could give to our young people.
Yes.
Which I want to ask you this. Boxing is looked at by a lot of people. It's like, I won't let my kids. Now it's not just with little boys, because girls train
Yes,
too.
yes.
But some of them still have the stigma about boxing,
Yeah.
that it's brutal, that kids shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
You know, so what is your perspective? What
Yes.
have you seen the sport of boxing do for young people? What have you seen it do?
Well, like I say, the most and the best thing that I could say that comes out of participating in boxing is the discipline. And I'll
We
tell
need
kids,
that.
I'll tell kids, I say the same
Yeah.
discipline that you use here in the gym,
Yeah.
you take that discipline to
Yes,
school,
yes,
on
you
now.
should
take
put
it to
out.
your
That's my
job.
Come on
message.
now.
Yes.
That's
Come
what
on
you
now.
do.
It becomes a
That's
part
right.
of your character.
That's
Don't
right.
just use it for the sport.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a life lesson.
That's my message.
Yep. Yep.
And like I say, the kids that really want to do it, and I just was referred before to you, the kid that just won the silver medal in the Olympics.
Yes.
Is that the young man from?
He's from
Yeah,
North.
New
Yes.
York.
He's
Yes.
from our New Jersey Association.
Yes. Come on now. Yes.
I remember this kid when he was like this high, running around the gym.
Right,
'Cause
right.
me and his grandfather are real tight.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And his grandfather was his trainer.
Okay. Wow. Wow.
and from there to where he's at now.
Yeah, and now he's professional and he's doing well.
In fact, he's fighting April 20th in Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
And it's funny just
Look
seeing
at
that
that.
young man. And you know what's amazing too? Because I don't know him personally, but you can learn a lot. Like when they talk to him, when they interview this young man, he's so humble, and he has his friends, his young friends that were there. So he didn't pick this whole new entourage.
No.
You could tell that he was groomed for this role, and the way he talks, the way that he just kind of like, you know what I'm saying, like presents himself. It's just like it's professional.
Yeah.
It is
You know?
definitely professional.
Yeah.
Because he's the oldest of 9 children.
He's the oldest.
He is the oldest
Wow.
of 9
And
children.
he's about what, in his early 20s,
He
right?
just turned 21.
Oh, wow.
He's the
God
oldest of
bless,
9
God
children.
bless, God bless.
Yeah, but what better role model
Yes.
for the rest of the siblings
Yes.
to have there?
Right.
So it's very important.
And like I say, his grandfather is super. Great influence on this kid's life. This kid is where he is today because of his grandfather.
Wow.
Because of his granddad.
And that's the
Wow.
impact again, of family
Yes.
and
Family.
elders and paying attention and just really, you know what I'm saying, just getting something out of the people that came before us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, I don't know if you want
No,
to say
I
something.
was just going to say, do you believe that you've made a greater impact now as being a mentor and as being a trainer and than you would have made if you were continuing boxing?
Oh, definitely, because, you know, like I said, we have kids, a lot of people don't know that USA Boxing, that's a national federation that oversees boxing in the United States. Every state has what we call a LBC, a local boxing committee.
Okay.
And those LBCs out of every state, we have a national tournament at the end of the year, say in December. And you know, well now it's used to be every year in Colorado Springs, which is the headquarters of USA Boxing. And a lot of people don't, you know, that don't follow boxing, that know nothing about boxing. Boxing is an Olympic sport.
Yes.
Just like soccer,
Yep.
basketball,
Yep.
boxing is an Olympic sport. All those kids are picked from USA Boxing. So we here in the state of New Jersey, we run our state tournament. So we have 10 winners, because it's 10 weight classes, that make it to go to the national tournament. And they have a chance to go from the nationals. Like I say, if you win the national tournament, then you become, say, part of the traveling team.
Wow. Right.
Which
right.
the guys that I was traveling around the world with, those 10 boxers that won the national title, they travel around the world.
Wow.
And we talk about 16, 17-year-old kids.
And that's amazing. That's just a way of them to get out of their environment
where they are, right?
and to get those experiences. And then that's the beautiful thing is too, they bring those experiences back and they could, but they need a center. They need a place where they can
Oh, yeah,
meet.
definitely.
Yes.
And what was one of the challenges, because I know that, you know, you're from Linden, New Jersey, but some of the doors opened up for you to train in Elizabeth, which is the town next over from us. Would you like some kind of, and I know I kind of know the answer to it, where you want to be home and you want, but I think that, you know, and I'm a football guy, but I love sports, but I love advocating for the young kids.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Would that be like a dream of yours to have a place in Linden, you know, where you started everything out with boxing, to be right here to help some of the youth here? Is that something?
And what are some of the obstacles are you, if that is true, because we already know he wants to, this was his hometown. What are some of the obstacles that's keeping from having a boxing place in Linden?
Would be, well, I'd put it like this. It's all politics.
Oh,
Here in
see
the
that
city of
word is
Don't
like
say that word.
It's gotta be about the kids. And I know it is.
It's all politics. Now, like I say,
Yep.
it doesn't take a whole lot to start a boxing program.
Right.
And well, I'll give you a story. See, when they was gonna build the 4th, 5th Ward Center over here on John Street,
Yeah, the multi-purpose center.
they were gonna have a boxing program. So at the time, the rec commissioner, Volpe, and they called me, and I went down, and then they was talking about, well, when we get this building up, we want to start a boxing program, and blah, blah, blah. So I gave them all the, my little expertise.
Not little, that's you world renowned. We should be like, Lyndon should be like, this guy, we have a
Dion,
gym.
he's being humble.
Oh my goodness.
I'm giving this story.
It ain't nothing little about your expertise.
So I told what they needed, how to set it up, blah, 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 So when the building got completed, and they started the boxing program, and let me back up a little bit. All the time we was talking about, how to set up, blah, blah. They gave me the impression that I would be in charge of this.
Yeah, that's it.
So anyhow, once the building got up and they got all a little boxing ring and boxing, everything set up, so they put Tony Orlando in charge of the boxing. Not me, Tony Orlando.
So was that somebody that was in the community or somebody that was?
Oh, you're gonna do it.
No.
Tony Orlando is he's in London. I don't know whether he wasn't a councilman, but he was in.
He was into the
circle,
the political scene.
So right now he's the chairman of the boxing commission of the state of New Jersey.
Okay.
But anyhow, they put him over charge.
Okay.
Everybody was looking for me.
Yeah, because you're a community guy. That's something you've been doing.
So when the people, that was interested in boxing came and they didn't see me, they didn't come back no more.
Right.
So the boxing program, that's how the boxing program failed. Because they put, now I'm going to tell it like they put the white guy in charge when everybody was looking for Mr. Givens to be in charge.
Who is the community person that they're used to being around and boxing that they know.
So the boxing program, it went anywhere. It didn't go anywhere. That was it. Like I say, it was politics.
Yes.
So the answer would have been, okay, this is not working, so let's go and get Mr. Givens so that he could bring these young people in here.
No, but they thought, or they figured, well, Mr. Givens would come on down anyhow.
Yeah.
So when they put Tony Orlando in charge, quite sure there was a stipend connected
Of
with it.
course, now.
So they expect Mr. Givens to come there.
Give his time.
nothing.
And give his time.
But no.
Oh, no.
It wasn't happening.
It ain't happening like that. No.
So like I say, I've been in Elizabeth all my life, training teacher, and I'm still there.
Yeah.
That's all, and that's what happened with Lyndon.
If that's where you're welcome and that's where the doors is open at, then that's where you go.
That's what happened.
Lyndon is hurting for that, for not having that, because that would have brought a wealth of just not only instruction, not only competition, not only mentorship, it would have brought it all.
Give the kids some discipline.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's still a lesson in that, because even though there were roadblocks and that kind of didn't work out, you kept to your passion and you didn't let that stop you. And sometimes, the politics would get in our way when we're trying to do something. And we lose a lot of good people because of the politics. You know what I'm saying? But that is a lesson for everyone out there, that when politics are in the way, still stay with the kids. At the end of the day, stick with your passion. Do what was going to benefit our kids. And that's what you're doing. At this point, like I said, 84 years old. I go to the park and I'm doing my little jogging and you're over there at the boxing bags, and the thing is, it's not just one race. You have Hispanics, you have male, you have female, you have older, you have younger. You're training everybody.
That's right, because that's what sports does. Sports brings everybody together. Sports you even think about people that go and watch sports. It's not just black, just white, just Hispanic, just Polish, just what. It brings everybody together. It brings everybody, because we all like to be entertained. And that's what it is. When boxing is entertainment. When we go and watch a boxing match, we're going to be entertained. What I want to talk about too before we, kind of come to a close a little bit is you were married. And I have to talk about that, because how many years were you married? Because your wife has passed away.
51 years.
51 years. 51 years. Let's just pause for a minute and talk about that.
51 years.
Because, see, you got married young. You got married, you said, when you were 20 years old, and your wife was, what, 16 at the time, and you stayed married until she passed away.
Yep.
Wow.
Now, we know we've been married, it'll be 25 years in July. But we've been married and we feel like it's a long time because Dion was 21 and I was 25 when we got married. So we think it's a long time. Well, it is for us because we were young. You know? We were young, you know. But I just think about that, the fact that you was with your wife all those years, you raised 3 young men. That's something that's notable too, because with marriage comes challenges and obstacles. And
it's work.
It's a lot of work, you know, but love overcomes all of those things. So even with that, I just think about how notable that is, because in a time I want to talk about the fact that black marriages, we don't see a lot of that, you know. It has, and people look at us like, well, you know what, there's a lot of single moms or there's a lot of deadbeat dads or what, that's how they look at us. So that's why I want to uplift when I see people that have been married a long time. And it wasn't perfection, you know. People will look and they'll think, oh, they say, what is it now, goals or hashtag relationship goals and all this stuff. And I say, well, then you got to travel the journey we traveled down if you want this to be your goal. You don't know what came along with this goal.
No, it wasn't easy.
And listen.
Because, like I say, my wife, she's not an athletic person. So when I went to the gym, she didn't come to
Right.
But see, at the time, like I say, I taught martial arts about 20-something years, but my kids didn't box. But I was doing, you know, actually I took them with my friend, James Fain, Grandmaster Goshi-shun.
Wow.
He had a dojo in Newark, and that's where I was going. So my kids got interested in that. So I took the 3 of them. And they started the martial arts. They didn't want to do boxing because, you know, the girls, they want to mess up their.
And that's that's okay.
But anyhow, like I say, so we got into martial arts. And I got them into that, and then the word got around the neighborhood. You know, well, you know them, the kids. They showing off, but so my home became, like I say, it's always it was already the center of, you know, and so. In my backyard, I used to have like 15, 20 kids in the back showing, you know, stuff in the martial arts, you know. So that's how all that, you know, came about. But far as, like I say, my wife wasn't athletic, and she didn't go to all the boxing shows. And at the time, I had professional boxers also. So when Atlantic City opened up, and they started having boxing shows, and I was down in Atlantic City maybe every week, you know, because like I said, I had my professional guys. So I took her one time because, you know, they give you rooms and
Right.
So she's sitting down in the front row, and the bout was going on, and the guy hit the guy and sweat, whatever.
Oh, he was that close.
She said, that's it.
She didn't want to go no more.
She said, that's it.
That's it. She didn't want to go to any more boxing.
Right. But she supported you and what it is that you did, and that's the important thing, because I don't have to do exactly, because Dion's passion is football and whatever, and you know, I went along the journey and I became, you know, but I feel like I'm his wind beneath his wings more type of thing. He has the passion and everything for it, and I just come up right behind him and support him in everything that he does. And we don't have to do the same thing, but we have to support one another. We definitely have to support one another.
And the most important thing is family. You know what I'm saying? It's family. You know, and that's why it's been a privilege to even have you here. You know, because you're not just this figure. And then when we put this show together, I was just like, you know, we have, it's not a big list, but there's people that we know contributed, but their stories weren't being told. And people know of them. But we have you, this guy that is here, that is a foundation of a lot of different things in your family. So in closing, I want to say thank you. I mean, because not only are you educating all of us, but you're giving me a family lesson, history, and you brought all this stuff that I can't wait to look through.
Right.
But I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud to be a family member of yours, and you give me even more that I could brag about. That's somebody in my family that not have only done it, but you continue to do it. So a lot of the things that I'm doing, I do it because of you and what you have contributed, and that's something that's in our spirit.
Y'all keep on doing what you're doing, man.
Absolutely.
It's appreciated.
Absolutely. So in closing, thank you so much.
And one more thing though before you close. One more thing before you close. I want to know, what would you tell this guy?
What would I tell him?
What would you tell him today, right now? What would you tell him
Nothing.
about your journey? What would you say to him?
What I say?
Because you were what at
Job
this
well
time?
done.
17, 18?
18.
Say it
Job
again.
well done.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. It's been a privilege.
Yes, it has.
Thank you,
And it's
we
been an
will-
honor. And you
Thank
know, I love
baby.
conversation. I love it, and I love learning.
Absolutely.
You know, and you have taught me so much just in this short time that we've
Well,
been
like I
talking.
say, I brought you guys. You got Givens blood in you.
Yep.
And here's Givens generation. That's descendant report. The Givens family history. All this is for you.
Absolutely. This is so appreciated.
So in closing, we just want to say we're just thankful, just this opportunity that we have to talk to people. And you don't have to have a camera, or you don't have to have just a platform to talk in this sense. You could always get to know people just by
Absolutely.
stopping and giving people your ear, giving people just your conversation. And that's so needed today. When you talk to people, they just feel alone. You know, they could be in a crowd room full of people and still feel alone. And when we have it in us to speak and to talk to people and just sometimes be a listening ear, that's something important to do. And that's why conversations with the Candias and Beyond the Bright Lights is so near and dear to our heart.
Absolutely. So just keep in mind, there's some people that we idolize and we just look at them for what they give the world. But then those same people, you know, we need to recognize that they do things behind the scene, things that are not in front of the lights, but some of these things are more impactful than some of the popular things. So again, we are thankful for my cousin, the one and only Donald Gibbons Sr. for sharing his experiences, and hopefully we all learned from it. All right, this is the Candias. We are signing off from Beyond the Bright Lights. See you guys next time.
Peace.
All right.